Heartwarming twist, manager exposed for refusing service to black woman discovers she's the owner. Angela stood behind the counter at Heart Soul, the cafe she had built with her own two hands, every flourish in the decor a testament to countless late nights and early mornings. The smell of freshly baked pastries wafted through the air, mingling with the rich aroma of coffee, and as she watched her bustling cafe filled with happy chatter, her chest swelled with pride. For her, this was more than just a business, it was a beacon of hope, a place where her two children could thrive amidst life's uncertainties. On that fateful Saturday afternoon, the regular customers filled the tables, laughter echoing like a warm embrace. But as Angela served pie after pie, a storm brewed on the horizon. When Lisa, a familiar face in the community known for her advocacy work, came in with her warm smile, little did Angela know that a nightmare was about to unfold. Mike, the new manager with aspirations dancing in his eyes, stood at the register, a condescending smirk on his face as he refused to serve Lisa, not because of anything she'd done, but simply because of the color of her skin. The outrage sparked like fire, igniting social media feeds with stories of heartbreak and injustice. "Did you hear about Heart Soul?" one neighbor whispered. "Can you believe it?" The tension hung thick in the air like impending rain. As protests erupted outside the cafe, Angela's pulse quickened. Her heart raced not just from fear of losing everything she had built, but from the pain she felt for Lisa and the community she loved dearly. As she pulled Lisa aside to offer her support, memories washed over Angela like a gentle tide, a flicker of warmth in a storm. She remembered the sacrifices she had made, missing family dinners, working double shifts to cover bills, and the late nights training her staff, envisioning a place where everyone felt welcome. With every recollection, her resolve strengthened. This was about more than just a cafe, it was about her children's future and the community they would inherit. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. When Angela confronted Mike, the air crackled with tension. "You don't understand what you've done," she exclaimed, her voice inverted between fury and heartbreak. As the truth hung heavy in the room, the owner's surprise flickered in Mike's wide eyes. The whispers among the crowd shifted from disbelief to rallying support. Angela felt the tide turn, hope surged as her community rallied around her, fierce and unwavering. In a pivotal town hall meeting brimming with energy, Angela stood before a sea of faces, friends, family, neighbors, and even the angry protesters. Her heartbeat was a rapid drum, but she steadied herself. "We cannot let ignorance define us," she declared. "Our strength lies in unity, in our willingness to confront injustice." Every word she spoke resonated in their hearts, igniting a flame of change that made their bond fiercer than ever. As Angela stepped off the stage, she could feel the whispers of possibility closing in. Could Mike fight for redemption? Would her beloved cafe weather this storm? Most importantly, could she lead her family and community into a brighter tomorrow? The air was thick with anticipation, and hope shimmered just beyond the clouds of doubt. Angela took a deep breath as she left the stage, feeling the weight of the crowd's eyes on her. The hum of their energy was almost palpable, a blend of hope, rage, and defiance. She had spoken her truth, but deeper questions pressed against her thoughts. How would she heal the rift that Mike had created? Would her cafe survive this upheaval? Back behind the counter, the cafe felt different. Customers could no longer casually sip their coffees. Conversations were heavy, filled with whispers and glances toward the entrance, where Mike had retreated after his devastating revelation. Would he come back? Would he apologize? The uncertainty gnawed at her stomach. "Angela," came a soft voice. It was Lisa, looking both weary and determined. "I wanted to say thank you. You stood up when it mattered most." Angela nodded, fighting back tears. I wish it didn't have to come to this, she said, sweeping her hand across the cafe as if encompassing the collective spirit that was now fractured. But it's not just me. It's us, all of us. We need to keep this momentum going. Lisa's shoulders squared. We have to meet with the community leaders. Organize a peaceful protest to show our support. Angela's heart raced again, but this time with excitement. Yes. I want to make sure everyone knows Heart Soul stands for something. It's a space for everyone. She could already envision banners and slogans. We can turn this into a celebration of our community, our unity. As they continued brainstorming, the door swung open, and an anxious Mike stepped inside. Silence enveloped the cafe. He looked around, his face a mask of shame, but determination filled his eyes. I need to talk, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Angela straightened, the fire of indignation flaring once more. What do you want, Mike? I want to apologize, he stammered. The sincerity in his voice caught Angela off guard, but doubt still flickered within her. I made a terrible mistake, and I don't expect you to forgive me, but I want to change. Change what? She shot back. Your attitude. The way you treat people. I've been blind, he admitted. I realize now how wrong I was. I was raised to see things differently, but that's no excuse. I can't make up for it alone. Angela studied his face. Was this real? Could he be sincere? The atmosphere in the cafe hung heavy with expectation. Why should we trust you? Lisa interjected, her finger pointing firmly. You made a choice that hurt many of us. Mike stepped forward. Because I want to help make it right. I want the cafe to be what it was meant to be, a haven. The words hung in the air, stirring conflict within Angela's heart. Could he be the ally she desperately needed? Could they rebuild together, or was it too late? Just then, the familiar sound of the bell above the door chimed again, and a new wave of people streamed in. It was clear this was more than just a moment for her and Mike. It was about everyone gathered. Let us keep talking, Angela decided. But you have to be ready for real change. No more empty promises. Mike nodded, hope flickering in his eyes. As they stood there, the cafe transformed around them, the community was ready to rally, but was this the start of a new chapter or the beginning of another battle? Angela's heart raced as she looked at her cafe, the family she had built around it, and all that was at stake. What came next would define not just Heart Soul, but the heart of their community. Angela could feel the energy of the cafe shift. It was as if the air thickened with the vibrations of small yet meaningful conversations. People were gathering, drawn by their shared experiences and hopes. Every eye was focused on the trio in the middle: Angela, Lisa, and a humbled Mike, who wore his remorse like an ill-fitted jacket. All right, Angela began, her voice steady but soft, if we're going to make this work, we need a plan. She looked around the cafe, meeting the eyes of regulars and newcomers alike. They were ready to listen. I want to hold a community meeting here this weekend. Let's talk about how we can create a haven not just for coffee, but for conversation and healing. A ripple of agreement flowed through the crowd. Lisa nodded enthusiastically. That's a great idea. We can design flyers and publicize it online. We need everyone's voices. The challenge was palpable, but so was the excitement. Angela noticed the glint of possibility shining in the eyes of her customers. Even Mike seemed to shrink back, realizing this was no longer an individual mission to redeem himself, but a shared journey toward change. Let me help, he offered, handing out his phone number. I can get in touch with the local media. This story can reach more people if we want it to. He looked earnest, as if he truly wanted to make amends. Angela wanted to believe him. But doubt still lingered in her heart like a shadow. Could they trust him not just to say the right words but to back them up with action? As discussions blossomed in the cafe, Angela caught snippets of planned slogans, ways to protest peacefully, ideas blossoming like daisies in the spring. There was life in the air, and Angela felt a warmth spreading through her chest. But despite the exciting atmosphere, the past still lingered, a bittersweet aftertaste. Then, Angela heard a familiar voice, rising above the chatter. It was Grace, a longtime customer known for her tenacity. "You know, I remember when Heart Soul first opened." She stood up, and the cafe quieted again, curiosity spreading. "You created this place from nothing, Angela." It wasn't just about coffee, it was about people coming together, feeling safe, feeling heard. Tears pricked at Angela's eyes as she recalled those early days, the laughter, the connections, the sense of community. Grace's words wrapped around her heart like a warm blanket, reminding her of what Heart Soul truly represented. "Exactly," Angela said, her voice choked with emotion but clear. "And I won't let it be taken away from us. Not now, not ever." The cafe erupted in agreement. People stood, clapping, chanting for unity. Angela glanced at Mike, who appeared both hopeful and scared, the shifting tides of community sentiment drawing him into their fold. "This is what we want, Mike. A change that's not just for show but a true reflection of who we are. What if we made it an ongoing thing?" Lisa suggested. "Monthly meetings, actively working with the community. Not just during tough times, but every day." A flurry of ideas filled the room, and Angela couldn't help but smile. They could do this, together, they could foster a real change. Suddenly, the realization hit her: this was no longer just about her cafe. It was about building a brighter future. As the discussions continued, something deep within Angela stirred a mix of fear and excitement. Could they really keep this momentum going? Was she prepared for what lay ahead? Just then, a commotion near the door caught everyone's attention. A familiar figure strode in, confidence radiating from him, but Angela's heart froze as the tension in the room shifted. With a sense of foreboding, she recognized him. Mike's expression mirrored her feelings. "I think we're about to get more than we bargained for." Angela felt her heart quicken, a deep sense of apprehension spiraling within her. What could this new arrival bring to their fragile momentum? As the door creaked wide open, uncertainty loomed closer, echoing through her mind. What they once cherished might be at stake yet again. Angela's breath caught in her throat as the newcomer stepped further into Heart Soul. A chill ran through her. There he was, Tom, the owner of a nearby cafe who had made headlines for his hateful remarks just a week ago. Rumors swirled about him like storm clouds, but Angela never imagined he'd come here, into her safe space where community and healing were meant to flourish. His confident stride faltered as he took in the gathered crowd. The cafe was a fight, not just for social justice, but for the very essence of inclusivity and kindness that Angela had poured her heart into. She shot a glance at Mike, who looked as startled as she felt. This wasn't the right time. Yet here was Tom, a live wire of tension, in a place filled with inspiration and hope. "Angela," he called, his voice slicing through the buzz of conversation. "I heard there was a gathering here today, thought I'd stop by." Angela felt anger rising like a tide. She stepped forward, her heart pounding. "And what exactly are you here for, Tom?" His smirk didn't escape anyone's notice. "Just wanted to see how you're handling all the talk around here." He gestured to the passionate faces in the room. "Do you really think this is going to change anything?" Angela's mind raced. Did he really think he could bait her so easily? This isn't just talk. "We're building something real," she replied, her voice steady despite the tremor beneath. "This is about community, Tom, something you clearly don't understand." A murmur of agreement rippled through the cafe, emboldening Angela. She could see people nodding, their conviction blending into a rising chorus of support. Tom's gaze flickered across the room, challenging anyone who dared to meet his eyes. "You've got an impressive crowd," he admitted, though his smirk remained. "But followers can be fickle." "Fickle or not, we're here for each other," Lisa interjected, crossing her arms defiantly. "We're done tolerating hate, and we're not disappearing." Angela's heart swelled at her friend's words. This was the community she had fought for. She could see the fiery determination reflected in each person's face, fueling her own resolve. But what if Tom wasn't just here for a taunt? What if he was here to undermine everything they built? Why don't we turn this into a conversation? Tom suggested, his tone twisted in sarcasm. Let us see where this passion gets you all. A silence fell over the café, the air thick with uncertainty. Angela could feel the stakes rising. We don't need your permission, Tom. Our voices will be heard. With a sudden fierce joy, she felt the power of unity gripping the room. Each person stood strong beside her, unwilling to be silenced. But Tom wasn't backing down. We'll see how long that lasts, he shot back, his words hanging ominously. What's that supposed to mean? Angela challenged, her pulse racing. Tom leaned back with a confidence that rattled her. Let's just say people are more inclined to follow strength over empathy, something in her snapped. And yet here you are, relying on fear. What does that say about you? The crowd erupted into whispers, weighing the implications of his words. Angela stood at the center of this storm, yearning for clarity. She faced Tom, but all she could think of was the fragile hope of the community she'd just started to build. They needed to steer this conversation, turn his words upside down. Angela. Someone from the back shouted, a familiar voice. It was Grace. Remember what you taught us about standing firm? Angela felt her breath steady again, fueled by the support around her. Yes, I'll never forget. We're not backing down. She turned to face Tom, channels of resolve running rampant. You may think you can intimidate us, but all you bring is more determination. We came together for a better future, and no one, not you, not anyone, can take that away. The murmurs of agreement grew louder as a sense of unity solidified within the café. Yet Angela's mind remained clouded by the lingering threat Tom posed. What was he really planning? As the tension in the room swirled, she realized this battle was just beginning. How were they going to confront the very real implications of someone like Tom in their lives? And could their newfound strength withstand the challenges ahead? Angela felt the tension in the air like a thick fog, unsure of where it would lead. Tom's taunt lingered over their gathering, electric and unsettling. The collective heartbeat of the café, once filled with laughter and hope, now thudded with uncertainty. She glanced at the faces surrounding her, friends, allies, souls ready for battle. Let us talk, Angela said, her heart pounding as she stepped closer to Tom. But not because you want to disrupt us. We're here because of love and unity. We want to show their strength in kindness. Tom raised an eyebrow, intrigued but still skeptical. The crowd leaned in, their expressions a mix of curiosity and defiance. He might have come here with intent, but they were not going quietly into the night. Strength in kindness. He scoffed. What a nice thought. But in the real world, it's power that gets things done. Angela couldn't let his words overshadow the resolve growing in her heart. And in the real world, Tom, people are yearning for kindness. They're tired of your power games. We're here to forge something better, not to squabble in the dirt of division. Another ripple of agreement flowed through the café, and Angela saw the glimmer of hope in the eyes around her. It was a reminder that their purpose was bigger than any hateful remark. What about when things get tough? Tom sneered. You think that cozy community will protect you? What happens when someone calls you out? Tom's words hung in the air, a challenge. Angela felt a chill run down her spine. What would they do if it came to that? The thought gnawed at her, yet she couldn't let fear shatter the fragile foundation they had worked so hard to build. Standing up means facing fear head-on, she shot back. It means refusing to be silenced. Each of us has a voice, and we'll fight for it. Just then, a flicker of movement in the back caught her eye. It was Grace again, stepping forward, her face determined. Don't let him put doubt in your heads. Look around, you're not alone. Cheers erupted, fueled by renewed determination. Every heart in the room beat louder, igniting an energy that pushed against Tom's cold demeanor. "Do you see that?" Angela continued. "This isn't just about words. It's about action. We will hold each other up." Tom's expression darkened, his usual swagger beginning to crack. "You think this will last? You'll burn out, just like the others." Angela's chest tightened at the synthetic pull of doubt coiling within her. "Our fire doesn't flicker. It ignites." The crowd yelled back in affirmation, voices blending into a powerful chorus of defiance. Angela felt the warmth of their connection, a living testament to hope against hate. Yet the gnawing anxiety remained inside her. What if Tom was right? What if their movement faced challenges they weren't prepared for? Her heart beat fast, alternating between pride and fear. She wondered how they would withstand what lay ahead. They had to be stronger than ever, each voice a line of defense. Then, as if on cue, the café door swung open, and a woman stepped in. Wild curls bounced as she walked, carrying a spirit raw with courage. The room quieted. "Sorry I'm late," she called, scanning the crowd. "I heard there was a rally." Angela felt an energy shift, a new wave crashing into their midst. Was she an ally? Or could she carry the weight of their struggle? One thing was clear, her presence could change everything. "Who are you?" Tom asked, crossing his arms defensively. But Angela could only stare, feeling a new question bloom inside her. Was this the moment they'd been waiting for? The catalyst for change. Each heartbeat resonated with possibility, and as she locked eyes with the newcomer, Angela knew she had to find out. What secrets lay in the woman's heart? And could she be the key to turning the tide in their fight against Tom's oppression? The surge of curiosity in the café was palpable, gripping everyone as they waited for the newcomer to introduce herself. Angela took a step forward, drawn to the vibrant energy radiating from the wild curls that danced around the woman's face. "What's your name?" Angela asked, trying to suppress the uncertainty that bubbled beneath her polished exterior. "Jasmine," the woman said, her voice clear and unwavering. "Jasmine Hayes. I've heard a lot about this place and the rally you're holding. I wouldn't miss it for the world." The crowd stirred, whispering amongst themselves, their voices a mix of awe and excitement. Tom's skepticism remained, but even he looked as if he were weighing his options. Who was this Jasmine? What did she know about their struggle? "Jasmine, do you think kindness can win against power?" Angela pressed, eager to grasp the thread of hope she sensed in her. "Absolutely," Jasmine replied, her eyes sparkling with conviction. "Kindness is not just a feeling, it's a force. It builds bridges, even when they seem broken down. I've seen it work wonders." The warmth of her words prompted smiles from even the most doubtful in the café. Angela felt a swell of connection, and the energy in the room began to rebuild, brick by brick, each smile reinforcing their purpose. But Tom, ever the disruptor, began to pace. And what happens when kindness is met with cruelty? Are we supposed to just turn the other cheek? You think love will conquer all? His voice was edged in disbelief, looking for cracks in their armor. For many, it does, Jasmine countered, undeterred. Cries for help aren't always echoed loudly, sometimes they whisper through acts of love. I know what it means to stand when the ground shakes beneath you. Believe me, change doesn't happen in silence. Angela nodded, feeling a closeness with Jasmine. This was what they needed, fire through the storm. She turned to her group, each face reflecting a new, energized purpose. What if she's right? Angela proposed. What if we started with small acts of love, standing together instead of letting fear tear us apart? The crowd looked from Angela to Jasmine, as if seeking validation. Slowly, heads began to nod. A shared spirit hovered above them, tangible and radiant. Picture this, Jasmine continued, her voice stronger now, every time we spread kindness, it becomes a wave. It can crash through barriers, shake the very foundations of hatred. One person making a stand can inspire others. That's what you're already doing, isn't it? The energy surged, electric fingers crackling through the group. Angela felt it, hope bursting like fireworks inside her chest. This was it, this was the moment they had been waiting for. Tom, still lingering on the edge of negativity, narrowed his eyes at Jasmine. You think you can come in and change everything with a smile? He spat, trying to regain control of the narrative. Not just a smile, Jasmine replied. It takes each of us doing our part. Look around. You already have a collective here. Now, let us expand it. Angela stepped forward again, emboldened. Together, we can build something stronger than Tom's divisive tactics. Will you stand with us? The crowd cheered louder, their voices merging in unison, forming a powerful bond that began to weave through the café. Angela's heart raced. The ground felt steadier beneath their feet, but just as she was about to speak again, a figure in the back, another face she hadn't noticed before, stepped into the light. Are you really ready to take on Tom? Because I have a secret that might change everything. Angela's breath caught in her throat. Who was this new person? What secret could hold the power to shift their battle? Was it the information they desperately needed? As they all waited, a cloud of anticipation hung in the air, dense with possibility and fear, ready to burst wide open. The figure stepped forward, her silhouette sharp against the dim light of the café. She was taller than Jasmine, with an air of quiet authority that instantly drew attention. Her straight hair fell delicately around her shoulders, framing a face that was both familiar and unsettling. Angela squinted, trying to place her, when recognition dawned. It was Rebecca, the café's manager, who had once been the topic of heated discussions around town. Rebecca, Jasmine said, her tone a mix of surprise and disbelief. What do you mean, a secret? Rebecca smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. I've been watching you all from the shadows, she said, her voice steady yet cautious. I have information that could change how we take on the real battle. You see, Tom isn't just a loud voice in this community. His supporters run deep, and they have, she hesitated, finding the right words, they have strategies we haven't even considered yet. Like what? Angela interjected, her heart pounding as the fear of the unknown crept back in. Was this a trap, or did Rebecca truly want to help? They've been targeting individuals, spreading lies, and even manipulating the systems to silence voices like yours. Rebecca's gaze moved towards Tom, who stood frozen, skepticism reflected in his posture. I can show you how to fight back, how to leverage the very channels he exploits. The café buzzed with murmurs, the urgency of the moment sinking in. Did they have something they could fight with? Angela's mind raced. She could see the hope in her friends' eyes, their dreams suddenly tangible in a way they hadn't been before. I know this is hard to swallow, Rebecca continued, sensing the tension in the room. I've been a part of the problem before. I stayed quiet while the world outside spun into chaos. But I can't stand by any longer. You need someone on the inside to help navigate potential risks. Angela found herself torn. Rebecca was the same person who had turned away customers, had upheld barriers more than she'd ever broken down. But now, she spoke like someone transformed. It made Angela wonder, could a change of heart really be true? Why now? Tom barked skeptically, his arms crossed. You could be lying. What's in it for you? Rebecca took a step toward him. What's in it for me? The truth? Maybe it's finally time to stand up and do what's right, instead of what's easy. Because let me let you in on another secret, Tom, I'm not just a manager. I'm the owner. A gasp rippled through the crowd. Angela's instincts flared. This unexpected twist felt like both an opportunity and a risk. Could they trust Rebecca? Could she actually be the key they needed to break through the stranglehold of fear that had bound them for so long? Why should we believe you? Angela pressed, biting back her doubts, her heart racing with the possibilities. Because change starts with courage, Rebecca replied, her words slicing through the tension. We can't just wait for things to get better. It's time to create a tidal wave of kindness that can't be ignored. Angela's breath caught again. The rally wasn't just a gathering anymore, it was a launchpad for something bigger. But how would they move forward? Would they trust Rebecca enough to let her guide them? As the murmurs grew louder, Angela made eye contact with Jasmine, who seemed equally hopeful yet cautious. Can we really change everything? Angela asked, the weight of the world hanging on her words. Maybe the real question is, are we ready? Jasmine replied, determination lighting her eyes. Could they find the courage to confront their fears and build a future together? As everyone waited for the answer, they stood on the brink of something monumental, ready to leap into the unknown. Then, from the back, another voice rang out urgent and raw. But what if that change demands more than we're willing to give? The stakes were suddenly higher, and the silence wrapped around them, heavy with the weight of what lay ahead. The words hung in the air, heavy and charged. Everyone turned towards the voice, a young man named Marcus, who had been at the café since it opened. He leaned against the wall, arms crossed tightly over his chest. The tension in the room shifted, an undercurrent of doubt now pooling alongside their flickering hope. What do you mean? Jasmine stepped closer to Marcus, her brow knitted in concern. What could it demand? We have to fight. We can't just sit back, right? It sounds noble, but change isn't just a rally cry, he replied, his voice low but steady. It asks for sacrifice, resilience when everything feels against you. We've seen that. We've felt it. Are we ready to dive into a fight that could take everything from us? Angela's heart raced. She knew Marcus had faced his share of battles. The town had not been kind to him, and his words hit hard. She glanced at Rebecca, the owner's expression had shifted slightly, revealing a flicker of vulnerability beneath her usual stoic demeanor. You're right, Marcus, Rebecca said, her voice softer now. It will be difficult. There will be losses. But staying silent has already cost us too much. Angela felt the weight of history slipping through their fingers, moments lost to fear and resignation. Was she truly prepared to pave a way through such uncertainty? She exchanged looks with Jasmine and Tom. Each seemed lost in thought, wrestling their own fears and hopes. As the cafe buzzed lower, Rebecca moved closer, her powerful presence lingering like an echo. I can help you strategize, she said. We can do this together. I know what worked and what didn't. And I want us to step beyond these walls, beyond this community, and create something that resounds. Resounds? Against the very people we grew up with? The people we see every day? Marcus shook his head in disbelief, his eyes glistening with emotion. That's like signing our own death warrant. No. Angela shot back suddenly, her voice louder than she had intended. The words spilled from her heart, heated and raw. It's not about death. It's about life. We have to take a stand. For ourselves, for each other. The crowd absorbed her words, tension rippling through the onlookers. Some began to whisper among themselves, a few face expressions shifting from skepticism to a hesitant belief. Rebecca nodded slowly, acknowledging Angela's passion. Exactly, Angela. It's about creating space for life, for sharing who we are with the world outside. We cannot be defined by their actions. We must show them a different path. Angela felt her pulse quicken, hope igniting like a small flame within her. But another question nagged at her, but what if we fail? At that moment, a soft voice joined the conversation. It was an older woman, the café's regular, Mrs. Peterson, who had watched everything unfold with a mixture of concern and fading hope. What if we don't? She asked simply. What if this is the time we finally break free? What if we find a way to spread kindness, fight back discreetly against the lies? The group was silent, the weight of her words sinking in like a stone in still water. Angela felt the energy in the room shift again, a tether pulling them together in unity as they stood on the threshold of possibility. Everyone there knew change wouldn't come without resistance, and fear would lurk at every turn. But so would hope. Maybe we can start small, Jasmine suggested, her voice a gentle anchor in the lift of tension. What if we began with community meetings, casual gatherings to share our stories? We can reach out and see how others feel. We can grow from there. Yes, Rebecca chimed in. A foundation. That's how real change takes root. We'll build our momentum, together. They were forging a path forward, unsure but willing to try. The café, once just a place of conversation, felt like the birthplace of a revolution. But in that spark of determination, Angela couldn't shake the feeling that more hidden challenges awaited them. Among the resolve and unity, shadows lurked, unseen forces that could threaten everything they were building. As they began to map out their future, Angela caught a glimpse of a figure watching from the nearby street, their eyes glinting in the streetlights. She shivered, the weight of just a single gaze signaling an end to their moment of quiet hope. Are we ready for whatever comes next? Angela whispered, her heart racing again. What if they're already coming for us? The moment of dread that settled over Angela felt like an anchor pulling her down into uncertainty. She glanced back at the group, their faces a mixture of determination and apprehension. The eyes monitoring them from the shadows had an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. Her instincts screamed that something was off, that their budding resolve might soon face a formidable challenge. Angela, Jasmine's voice broke through her thoughts, urging her to refocus. What are we going to do now? What can we do? Angela replied, trying to mask the tremor in her voice. We just need to stay strong. Right, but we need to keep our eyes open, Marcus added, his gaze drifting to the figure in the darkness. If they're watching us, they might already know what we're planning. Rebecca stepped forward, her resolve radiating from her. If they're watching, let them. But we cannot let fear dictate our next move. Mrs. Peterson, who had stayed quiet, nodded slowly. Fear is a powerful emotion, but so is courage. Let us channel our fears into action. If we stand united, they cannot silence us. Angela felt the surge of energy rising in the café, a collective heartbeat of resolve. It wasn't just her desire for change that fueled her anymore, it was the fire sparking in those around her. She remembered the stories she had heard through the years, each one a gentle push against the silence that had enveloped their lives. Maybe we could have our first community meeting here, Jasmine suggested, her eyes lighting up. A welcoming space for everyone to feel safe and heard. We all have stories, don't we? Yes. Angela exclaimed, her heart beating faster. We'll reach out to the young, the old, anyone willing to join in. We'll find strength in our shared experiences. Good plan, Marcus mumbled, a newfound determination glimmering in his eyes. But we must be prepared for whatever backlash might come. We could face resistance, maybe even hostility. Let it come, Rebecca said firmly. This is about truth, about standing up for what is right. We've spent too long hiding behind fear, worrying about what others will say or do. If they retaliate, we will respond with our voices louder than ever. As they strategized, whispering ideas and potential outreach methods among themselves, a sense of excitement began to eclipse their fear. Angela felt the spark of camaraderie weaving them together. Each face around her was filled with promise, with the possibility of change that loomed on the horizon. But as the café filled with laughter and hopeful chatter, Angela couldn't shake the unease settling in her stomach. That figure watching from the street, who were they? What did they want? Was this all really going to be that simple? Or would there be consequences lurking just around the corner, waiting to strike when they least expected it? The sound of the café door creaking open startled everyone. They turned, and Angela's heart dropped. There stood the man she had least expected to see, Gary, the town's chief critic of their community. His presence was like a storm descending on their moment of sunshine. Thought we might be able to have a little chat, he said, leaning against the doorframe, a smug smile plastered on his face. A collective breath held tight in the air, as though the café's very walls braced themselves against the confrontation that was sure to follow. Angela's mind raced. What did he want? What would come of it? Looks like we have company, Jasmine whispered, barely audible. Angela's stomach twisted, the reality settling in. They were teetering on the edge of their aspirations and a potential backlash. The fight was far from over. How do we respond? Angela thought, as tension crackled around them like static electricity. She had to find a way to turn this challenge into another stepping stone toward the change they so desperately sought. But she knew it wouldn't be easy. Are we ready to face whatever he throws at us? She wondered, her heart pounding louder than ever before. Angela's breath caught in her throat as her gaze met Gary's piercing eyes. The tension that had started to swell like rain clouds over the café now hung heavy in the air, electrifying every person in the room. She could sense their collective heartbeat, drawing strength from one another as uncertainty rippled through the crowd. Gary, what do you want? Angela called, her voice steady but cautious. She felt a surge of adrenaline. This confrontation could either tear them apart or solidify their resolve. He stepped inside, his posture casual yet menacing. Just thought I'd share an opportunity for you, he said, an insincere smile creeping across his face. You're getting a lot of press, and I thought, why not bring your little gathering under the microscope? You know how these things go. Murmurs filled the café, eyes darting between Angela and Gary. What sort of opportunity? Lisa challenged, her protective stance mirroring Angela's own. We're not interested in empty threats. Gary leaned against the counter, drumming his fingers impatiently. Look, I'm not here to threaten. I'm offering you a chance to back down gracefully before this goes public. I've got friends in the media, and let us just say your café's reputation is in jeopardy. Leah, a loyal customer and friend, stepped forward, anger radiating from her. You're just trying to intimidate us, Gary. We refuse to be silenced. Angela held up her hand, feeling the undercurrent of anger wash through the café. What are you trying to accomplish, Gary? You think your fear tactics will work? We're done being scared. We stand together. He chuckled. Together, huh? You really think that LL hold up when the real pressure comes? What will you do when people start turning their backs on your café? Fewer customers, fewer sales. It's a tough world out there. But instead of despair, something transformed within Angela. It hit her this was their moment. You want to test us, Gary? Fine. But know this, we're not afraid. We'll show this town what true unity looks like. A wave of determination rippled through the crowd, each face reflecting steadfast resolve. Angela felt the collective energy wash over her, buoying her spirits, a tide of hope in the water. Jasmine stepped up, fierce and commanding, let us take this opportunity to turn the tables. We'll spread the message of unity, inclusivity, and love even further. You can't drown us out. Gary's expression darkened slightly as voices chimed in support, everyone resolute. And you think you can bully us back? Marcus asked, anger simmering beneath his calm facade. You think that getting attention means you can drown us into silence? Gary's bravado faltered, realizing the tide had shifted. He wasn't just facing Angela or a few friends, he was up against a whole community, bonded by shared experiences and a fierce desire for equality. You seriously think this is how it ends? He retorted, leaning closer, eyes narrowing. You're in over your heads. I'll be watching. Angela straightened her back, gaze fixed on him. We'll be waiting. But while you're watching, we'll be working towards building a community together. The tension in the café transformed, the air thickening with energy, sprouting hope like spring flowers in the wake of winter. Behind them, the customers began to speak up. Yeah. Someone shouted. We're stronger together. Unity always wins. Another called out, and soon a chorus of voices filled the air, resonating in powerful waves of defiance. Angela felt tears prick her eyes, not of sadness, but of profound relief and joy. This was what they had built, a true community. The doubts that twisted in her stomach slowly unfurled, replaced with a sense of purpose that thrummed in her heart. As Gary turned to leave, his confidence waning, a more fiery voice rose from the crowd, a man named Paul. "You've underestimated the heart of this community, Gary. We've faced enough hate, and together, we'll show you what love can do." Angela locked eyes with her children, who stood behind the counter sporting matching grins. Hope blossomed into new life, filling the café with a warm light. They wouldn't back down. They wouldn't be threatened. And as the last glimpse of Gary slipped through the doorway, Angela felt the weight lift. There was still work ahead, challenges to face, walls to break down, but they had transformed that fragility into something beautifully resilient. "It's time for action," Angela said, her voice carrying strength. "Let us plan our community meeting, right here, next week. We'll share stories and plan for what lies ahead together. This is only the beginning of our movement." The café erupted in applause, a sound of joy, of defiance, of unity. And at that moment, as laughter filled the air once more, Angela could feel it, the revitalizing pulse of heart-soul, thrumming with life and possibility once again. She smiled through the tears that streaked her cheeks, each drop more profound than the last. They were ready for whatever would come next. Together, they would pave a path forged in kindness, resilience, and the unshakable belief that love conquers all. Before she could turn to action, the camera shifted, capturing the glow from the café's windows and the vibrant tapestry of people inside that called for justice. Friends and family united, they would move forward, not just to fight against hate, but to celebrate a new chapter where every voice would be heard. And Angela felt an urge rising within her soul to inspire others to join in this fight, to take action, to not wait for another moment to spare. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss our next exclusive stories that inspire and ignite change. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm with positivity, because your support really matters. Comment below with your reaction and feelings about this powerful ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation and join the movement. You need to support us. You're part of this journey of change. Don't wait not even one more second to help spread the message.